Welcome to Remodel Your Life. We are shining the light on women thriving in the trades and remodeling their life into something better. Join a female carpenter as she interviews women around the country about the incredible variety of careers and financial opportunities for women in construction and the skilled trades. And now, your host, Camille Finan.
Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for joining me. I've got a really amazing guest today, but I wanted to ask you a question first. Do you ever wonder where your work boots come from? Do you wonder just what makes a good boot that keeps your feet from getting wet, or maybe your feet from being dry when it's really, cold outside and warm? Well, we've got someone who can answer some of these questions. Today, we have the owner of Athena Outfitters, Dan Van Dies. And Dan, thanks so much for joining me today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on, Camille. This will be fun.
Yeah. So you are a sponsor of the show. We love your stuff, and we love what you're doing for women in the trades, specifically trying to create real fit and form and function for women specifically. So we really love that angle. I know you are a fourth generation shoe guy for a long way back. So can you kind of give us a little bit of the background of you guys and your family as a shoe business, and before we really get into a little bit of the nitty gritty of the actual work boots?
Yeah, definitely. I'd be happy to. So yeah, like you said, I'm fourth generation shoe guy. So my great grandfather started our company called V&A Bootery in Kalamazoo, Michigan back in 1923. He was the youngest of 8 kids, and they immigrated from the Netherlands. And the guy was just really, really smart and very, very motivated. He had an 8th grade education, and he ended up going into business with a guy that he had worked with. And they started their own shoe store. And back then, everything was really sort of dressy, and everyone dressed a lot differently. So it was mainly dress shoes. But as time marched on, and my grandfather and his brothers took over, and then my dad, and now me, we've really seen footwear really get casualized and really more comfortable, better made products over the years. And, being fourth generation, I'm just very thankful. Never thought I would be in the shoe business. It was never forced on me or anything like that. But it just kind of was my calling. They say I was born into a shoebox, and, I think this was just made for me,
I love it. So just before we go on with the rest of the history, what's your favorite part of your day? What do you love about basically researching and buying shoes wholesale and then reselling them to other people? What's your favorite part of being, owning a shoe store?
Yeah, it's really finding a need and looking at trends and seeing how things have changed. Chasing that hot shoe or chasing that hot look, or noticing a trend early on and saying, listen, we might be too early there. Let's wait till next season and then really dive in. So it's really cool going to trade shows. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to do that over the last year. It's really been hard, because that really is one of my favorite things to do in the business. God willing, we'll be able to go back into trade shows later this summer. But that I love product. That's really my favorite part about the job.
So how many trade shows would you normally go to a year?
So we usually go to probably about 5 or 6.
Oh, wow.
We do our buying cycle twice a year. So come, in August, we'll be buying shoes for next spring already. So it's just the cycle of that is. So we go to one major trade show per season, a national trade show, either in Atlanta or Las Vegas. They both have 2 big ones. And then we go to a few regional shows too, here, local shows, and meet with our individual reps.
That sounds actually really fun. So basically you're kind of like a fashion designer.
Yeah.
I mean, you have that element where you get to really see stuff before anybody else does, and see all the cool colors and just be like, oh my God, the customers will love this. Right. So you're literally curating it you're curating what you think we're going to love to buy, basically.
Yes. Yep. And we see, I mean, it's a copycat business. You see a
Mm-hmm.
lot of, in shoes and even clothing, you see a lot of companies doing a lot of the same things.
Yeah.
So we see that before any of that stuff hits market. So the stuff that we buy is really the best of the best. We think,
Right.
There's a reason that we bought this wedge boot as opposed to that wedge boot, or this 6-inch work boot compared to that one. It's because we feel this is better. We've seen them all. We
Yeah.
can get them all, but we choose the best ones that we think are best for our customers.
Wow, that sounds really fun. One of my favorite movies of all times is called Kinky Boots. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's based on a shoe factory. Yeah, it's a true story in England. You should watch it. It's now made into a musical in New York by Cyndi Lauper. And it's a true story of a whole entire town in a little part of England, right? Where everybody in the town made shoes. They had all these old factories, right? Back from the 20s, 30s, and 40s. And they started going out of business. And so one of the factories turned into a factory that just made boots for transvestites.
Oh my
For
God.
reals. So you had these very
Whoa.
stodgy, very conservative, shoemakers, right? That's all they ever did was cobblers. And they made these very modern boots, right? That were sold in Italy, and it became this huge thing, and it saved the company. And much like your story, the son took over for the dad. And so it was the son who was running it. And it's a really great, fun movie.
Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing.
It's really, really good. Yeah. It's one of my absolute favorite movies. And the lead role is Chiwetel Ejiofor, who is the same African-American actor who was in 12 Years a Slave. That is the man who plays the woman in that movie. It's incredible.
Oh, wow,
you would not
great.
believe that big, beautiful, strong man is dressed up as the lead character who wears these boots. Right? It's a great movie.
It's added to my list right now. That's awesome.
And it is so much about boots and heritage and family and tradition. It's just this warm, fuzzy feeling of a movie. It's fantastic. So
thank you for the recommendation.
Yeah. So not to get off topic, but it sounds really fun that you get to go to these shows and really, pick what you like and what you think your customers are going to like, which explains why, you're doing this for us, right? Women in the trades who, traditionally have been completely overlooked. Right.
Oh,
and
100%.
So I love that you're doing this literally for us. So going back to the history just a little bit, can you kind of talk about, I know that you guys bought another company, I believe, is sort of how you actually started the Athena Outfitters side of the bigger business, right?
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. So 5 years ago, we had bought a work boot store in the market that we have our main stores in. And it was a long time, 90-year sort of friendly competitor. They were just down the road from us, but they specialized in work boots and kind of hiking boots and outdoorsy things. And the opportunity presented itself where we could buy that business, keep a lot of the jobs, keep the business running. We work directly with a lot of manufacturers and other local employers, and we sell tons and tons of safety toe work boots. And work shoes, people that are in manufacturing, and OSHA requires them to have safety toe. And the name of that business is called Oken Brothers Shoes. And, having that business for a couple of years, I really dove in to try and get into the nitty gritty and try and build that business back up. And I realized, we have a lot of women's work boots in the store. We were selling a lot of them, but the selection was really pretty plain Jane, very down the middle. Not great looking stuff, just I call them dumb shoes. For me, a dumb shoe means it's just, you look at it, it's boring. It's nothing fancy about it, just serves a purpose. That's it. And they didn't fit great. So I was just thinking to myself, holy smokes. And more women kept coming in. We kept selling more, and they get the same response. Is this the only selection you have? Is this all you have? I'll buy it because I need it. I don't like it. And, that's not, we give them great service, but the selection that we had of the product wasn't as good. So I really got thinking, let's expand this selection. Let's buy some more product. And then I thought, well, I started doing research online and Googling women's work boots. And they're just, other than going directly to the vendor, whichever vendor you may like, no one really, curating that whole selection of workwear and gear and footwear, which was my specialty. So, that's when the idea of Athena Outfitters was born. I remember I was driving home from spring break with my family, and I usually drive a lot. And Lindsay goes, "Do you want a break? Like, it seems like you're just like out, just completely out there." And I said, "That would be awesome." This idea just hit me, and I brought out my notebook, and I was actually looking through it before to kind of prep before our talk today. And I'm thinking, holy cow, I just had tons and tons of ideas, and we're not done yet. Our company, Athena Outfitters, we just started, a little over a year ago, and there's a lot more that we want to do, but really getting to the point where we got our website up, we got a bigger selection and really got involved in Instagram and things like that. That's it's just the beginning for us.
That's lovely. Well, can you share a little bit of the direction you'd like to go, or do you want to hold that for the next interview?
Well, yeah, of course we want to, it's just hard, we want to do more marketing, but we want to get a blog going and get our email list a little bit more robust and start, coming up with some content that can really bring value to this community, this amazing maker community that, we've now been accepted by on Instagram is really where our main platform, where we interact with a lot of our customers and people. Yeah. So, having a blog, having a good email, and really just being able to connect more and having open lines of communication with the community, even if it's nothing about any of the products that we sell necessarily, just things that we know we can bring value to. If your boot is kind of trashed and you really need help, best practices to maintain your boots, or best practices, to make them last longer, or best for this or that. We're the experts. We know all this information, and we want to help people, and just being able to be more open with the people in the community.
Yeah. Well, I think it's awesome. And I love that you sort of have this kind of open door policy where people can really share with you what they're looking for, what's not working, and you guys can sort of help mirror back what is a better fix for that. Right. So normally when I was in the trades growing up, 25 years ago, like there was nobody really you could even talk to. So I love that you guys are really open to, your customer service and stuff. You're just really open to trying to find the best solution for women, and our shapes and sizes are different and our needs are different. I mean, and I think it's great that you guys have recognized that, and you're really, you're going to help us, right? You're basically going to help us out. So I love it. I think it's great.
For sure.
So
and back, just on that real quick, back, even when I started in the shoe business 20 years ago, a lot of hiking boots, even, and athletic shoes were really made for men, and they were just kind of shrunken down, and they really they didn't fit women great. And the reason for that was they weren't made for them. And now we're finding more and more products are made specifically for women and women's feet, because they are built differently than men.
Right.
And we want to be able to get more products like that.
Yeah. And that was going to lead into sort of us talking about the actual, product a little bit. And like, maybe you can tell us a little bit of what you've actually seen in women's feet that is different, and how you guys are sort of like, what characteristics are you looking for when you're trying to kind of curate certain, work boots, but also just like not necessarily a steel toe boot, but like a lot of us are carpenters, but we're in shops and we're not necessarily wearing steel toe all the time. Like, what are some of the differences that you think are between men and women?
Yeah. So in footwear, really, it's width. Guys' feet are typically bigger and wider, and women's feet are more narrow than men. That doesn't mean they're narrow necessarily. We actually are selling more women's wide widths than we ever have. It's really more of a growing sector in the market, and larger sizes as well. When I started, most shoes we would buy, 6 through 10, and maybe we'd buy an 11. Now, if they don't make it an 11, we don't really think it's worth offering to our customers, because we sell so many of those larger sizes. And now we're getting into size 12s for women, and medium and wide and extra wide. So we look for items that are made specifically for the women's last. So usually that means that they make it in medium and wide. We think that's important to have a wide array of sizes. And same with the clothing too. We want to be able to have stuff that fits a wide range of people. So, but getting back to the shoes, that making it specifically for a woman, and we can tell the difference, and companies are being more honest with us about it. And we can tell, yes, this is a product that we know is going to be tough and going to be durable for women. Looks wise, a lot of this retro sort of, moccasin toe, those old sort of Red Wing looks, those are becoming more popular again. Not necessarily with a safety toe. They don't have to be safety toe. I thought when we first started this business that we would sell a lot more safety toe than we are. We actually sell more kind of soft toe and just kind of outdoorsy type stuff. Because like you're saying, if you're a carpenter, or if you're just in a shop and it's not required of you to wear a safety toe, you might not need it.
Right.
Yeah.
For me, I noticed the biggest difference is sort of just the bulk, like, the weight. For me, the weight and the bulk of the shoes is the biggest difference that I noticed. So, like I know that like my Keen boots are much lighter than like the traditional boots I would have worn before. Like, I mean, I was just tired just wearing the boots, right? They were so heavy and bulky that I feel like they've come a long way just with that. And like the ankle structure feels different to me. There's more curvature or something. I don't know. They just feel way more comfortable than they did before.
Yeah. And a lot of that is material innovation too. A lot of these companies, Keen, for example, is using a lot of lighter weight materials, but they aren't sacrificing durability. So that you used to think, oh, if a shoe's lightweight, it's not going to last long. Right. Now that's not necessarily true. If it's lightweight, it still could be just as durable, if not more so, based on the materials that they're using. So the outsole material, the midsole material, and whether they're using leather or synthetic leather or maybe a fabric, whether the boot is lined or unlined, waterproof, non-waterproof. These are all factors that sort of play into your decision-making process when you really want to buy that boot. And that's something we can help you along the way when you're looking at stuff.
Yeah. So, okay. So let's go into sort of what you consider your ideal boot for like a wet condition, something to keep your feet warm, right? So like cold conditions, and then also how to keep them cool if it's like where I'm at, where it's like 105, right? What would you say if you were guiding me through that process that I should be looking for, and or the brands that you think, brand/style that you think solves that problem the best?
Yeah. So if you, a lot of times in the fall, winter, we sell a lot of waterproof boots, and a lot of them are made with a waterproof lining on the inside of the boot. So it's not on the leather on the outside, but it's not on the lining on the inside. It's this booty construction that's right in the middle of the two. And what it does is waterproof lining, it wicks moisture and sweat from your feet out and doesn't let water in. So this is waterproof breathable, they call that. And Gore-Tex was like the main player in that material. The patent has since run out on Gore-Tex. So now a lot of companies are using their own proprietary waterproofing material. So it's got, if you're going to be working in wet conditions, it's got to be something that's got that waterproof membrane in there. Or you could get a Wellington sort of pull-on rubberized boot. We've worked with a couple local breweries, people that need that Wellington, need a little, going in and out of refrigeration units. So, or if you're on a farm, if you're working, in agro and that sort of business, you want just something you can pull on that comes up relatively high that you know is going to.
It goes over your existing shoes. Yeah.
Yeah, it could. Okay. Yeah, for sure.
So those are good. Yep. The first one with the wet conditions with that kind of semi-permeable liner. What would be out of the ones that you carry that you think are the best for that? Which brand does that? We have a lot of success with Keen, both their utility division and their outdoor boots, and they use the same. I think they call it Keen Dry, and it's it works really, really well. It keeps your foot dry, and also wicks the moisture away, wicks the sweat away from your foot. So we do really well with the Keen brand for that. Nice. Okay. And then what about cold conditions? Like if you're in Wisconsin or Minnesota, where I'm from originally, what's the best boot to keep your foot warm in those conditions?
So when you're going to be outside and it's cold, you really are going to you're going to need to make sure you have enough insulation in your boot. And most work boots or outdoor boots start with 200 grams of insulation. It's kind of the starting point that's going to help keep you warm. And it goes up from there. So if you're outside walking, moving around, a 200 gram insulated boot should do well for you. But if you are going to be standing, let's say you're a hunter or you're, just not moving around a ton in your job, but you are still outside in the elements, you're going to need something with 4, 8, even 1,000 grams of insulation, because the less you move, the more
you're not producing your own.
You're
warmth,
not producing
basically.
your own warmth at all. And another a misknown or kind of misconception is you want your boots relatively tight.
Yeah, I was going to ask. That was one of my next questions.
Yeah. So it goes really, really well with the cold weather thing, because if you get your insulated boot tight, there's no air circulation in your foot, and your foot actually gets colder faster than it would if you had a little extra room around it. So we sell some of these insulated boots better in wide width, just for that fact, where you say, listen, I know I'm going to have a big thick sock on. I don't want my boots to be tight. So get them maybe a half size or full size longer, and maybe opt for a wide width instead of a medium.
So like I'm a 7. And I would sometimes do a wide. I mean, they're not incredibly wide, but you would recommend, if I wanted to do that, maybe get an 8 wide and then have a bigger, thicker sock if I was out in really cold conditions.
Yeah, or even just an 8 medium if you usually are 7, 7.5, jumping up to an 8. Because also when you go up in length, you also incrementally go up in width. So, okay. Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And then what would be the brand? Like, how would I even know? I love that 200 grams versus 1,000 grams. How would I even know, even if I'm looking at your website, which of the boots has 1,000 grams of insulation?
Yeah. So we'll put that in our descriptions. Right now, I took my insulated boots kind of off just because it's low season for them.
Yeah.
So I don't.
But in general, it would be on.
But in
there.
general, we'll have a section that'll say insulated boots, and so it'll be broken down from work to casual and outdoor. So we'll put them all in together, and in the description we'll tell you, what the boot's good for. A lot of them have temperature ratings too, so they'll say good to -30 or good to 0 degrees or things like that.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, I wish I'd known about that it does still get, pretty cold here in the wintertime, but I would be, standing on concrete in a cabinet shop. Right. And we didn't heat the whole shop. Right.
Sure.
And it was a big shop. So, we were cold just because we were on concrete all day long. Right. And, it's quite cold inside the shop. So I wish I'd known that you could even buy boots with better insulation in them.
Yeah.
Okay. And so let's do like hot conditions. Let's say it's really warm outside and you want your feet to be kind of dry. What would you recommend for that?
Yeah. So if you have a tendency to have, your feet get warm, you're going to want something that's got more of that mesh or breathable material, on it. So it ups the airflow a lot. So a lot of sneakers, you'll see they'll have that mesh to them, but the sneakers usually won't hold up as well as, let's say, a trail running shoe or like a hiking shoe. Anytime it's waterproof, it usually means it's less breathable, which means your foot has a tendency to get warmer.
To sweat, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But with a lot of these, waterproof membranes in there, they do wick some moisture away. Just make sure that you have, we do really well with smart wool socks and other merino wool blend socks. It kind of seems like it may not be the best thing to wear a wool sock when you want your feet to be cool, but they actually keep your feet cooler than a cotton sock would, because they naturally wick moisture away better than cotton or even some other synthetics. So, and the socks that we have come in different thicknesses too. So if you know your feet get hot, I would get a thinner wool sock and pair it with a pair of shoes that have no waterproof membrane, just kind of an airy, breathable mesh material to it.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, ladies. Well, that's 3 big things to talk about. Let's talk just a little bit about the differences between from sort of a safety toe. We have a lot of people that listen that are on, in the union on big job sites, so they have to wear steel toe. What's is there a difference in weight And you may not just know it off the top of your head, but is there a difference of like what you consider the differences between a traditional steel toe, maybe a composite, and and the weight difference of what you consider an actual really good quote unquote safety toe boot that's like the lightest version? Like what would be a weight difference so that you could tell us?
Yeah. So steel toe still is kind of the, that's what people think of when you're thinking of that safety purpose. But we sell more now composite toe than we do steel toe. And the reason is that weight that you talked about. Composite toe is a lighter weight material, and they can make the toe shape a little less
like bulky.
It can just shape. Yeah, exactly. A little less bulbous, I was going to say. So, but steel toe still probably offers a little bit higher level of protection. If you are working outdoors and you do experience some colder environments, steel does get colder. So you will need a higher level of insulation to go with that. Or if your feet typically get colder, steel toes will get colder outdoors than, let's say, a composite toe shoe will. They both will give you full protection. We're starting to trend a little bit more to comp toe. Just I'm thinking it might be a little bit cheaper for these companies to source, and the fact that it's lighter. People and women now, especially, they want lighter weight because they're on their feet. They're working longer hours. What's the point in being uncomfortable if you can have a comfortable footwear product and still protect you, which is really important. We deal with a lot of safety directors working with big manufacturers, selling these boots. And, locally here, we've sold a lot of boots to Pfizer. They've done an amazing job with the vaccine and everything like that. So that was really, really nice for us to be able to help them in that process. They were working, many, many shifts, and they require safety toe. So, and a lot of the women and the men too, they wanted something lightweight because when you're working 12 hours and, some of them had to work doubles, and, you want the less weight, the better. So that's why we're seeing that trend in comp toe.
Nice. Okay. So that's sort of safety shoes. Let's talk. I always had some questions about like the actual soles of the shoe. What insight can you give us into what makes a shoe a quote unquote work boot easier to like stand on concrete all day? Like what would make it more comfortable if you're standing a lot? Any insight into how soles get, like what you see?
Yeah, it depends on your line of work, but a lot of the main difference between work boots and kind of soft toe work boots and like, let's say, hiking boots is this electrical hazard rating. So if you're working, most safety directors and most of the time on job sites, they want you to have this electrical hazard protection, which all of our work boots have. And that's sort of the big thing, but really some different sole units. Some workers need a really flat sole. Let's say you're working on a roof. You can't have a whole lot of you can't have areas where the surface area is not being touched. You want almost your whole boot touching the surface so it doesn't let you slip. Or having some people need a 90-degree heel because they're climbing ladders or climbing trees. A lot of landscape people like that will need a different sole unit. And there's different durability, different materials. Some need it softer for better grip, and some want it harder for more durability. And then you add weight into the mix too. And usually the lighter the weight, typically, and an outsole, it tends to wear a little bit quicker. But it all sort of depends on your line of work. And we've got just tons and tons of different options for you, depending on your line of work. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Well, for sure, I'm going to suggest that everybody, go there, use our code, save some money, and also just be able to use your customer service. Like they could just say, hey, here's what I'm doing in the trades. And you guys can really help educate them specifically on what sole works the best, right?
Yeah. And it's easy to, totally. It's easy to drop us a line on our website or on our Instagram, direct message us. We're on there all the time.
Yeah.
Answering customers' questions and just providing feedback. We love seeing our gear and our shoes on work sites and in your workshop, or that's something that we really enjoy. So when you buy something from us, usually we give you a sticker or something cool that you can throw on your water bottle or your laptop or somewhere in your shop to kind of give us some love.
Yeah, I love it. So, okay, so that's shoes. Obviously, we could talk about that for a long time, but let's talk a
Yeah,
little bit
I'm a shoe dork.
about the about the clothes because you do sell quite a few like work pants, and
Yep.
work pants with women. Oh man, it's like finding that perfect pair of jeans, right? Like it's just hard to do sometimes. So, I love that you guys have lots of different sizes for lots of a big range of women's sizes and the fit and cut of them are so much better than they used to be before. Can you kind of talk about some of your kind of favorite brands that you carry, what you guys are looking for? And I know you also carry some brands that are actually quite hard to find in the country,
Yeah.
right? Like they're not as easy
Right.
to locate.
Right. And this was something that we did at trade shows too, trying to find that. So really our foray into workwear and clothing gear like that was talking to women locally saying, they hated the big baggy, clothes because they didn't feel like themselves. It was strictly utilitarian and it just was serving a purpose and they just didn't like it. So we're like, let's get some awesome boots, but we also need awesome clothing to go with it. So, the first brand we brought in was Dovetail Workwear, and we're excited to be partners with them. And I remember seeing them at a trade show the first time and just looking at them and thinking, this is exactly what we need. They do a really, really good job of fit and function, and the people that run that company do a great job. And we're excited to partner with them on that. But, whether it be pants or overalls or shorts now they're making too, which are really, really nice. Having a wide array of sizes is crucial for us to be able to include a lot of different people in that. And let's say we're out of a size and something that you want, just drop us a line. We can special order things for you, or we can let you know when an item might be getting back in stock too. So yeah, we looked at a lot of different things. Dovetail Workwear. There's another brand called Burn Workwear, which is another Midwest company out of Indiana. They do a nice job too. A company called Bad Workwear. They're out of Australia. We were one of the first retailers in the country to have that brand, and they do some really cool, almost streetwear sort of inspired looks. We've had some success there. And then just, we're getting more into the hat business. We just launched our Athena Outfitters Rainbow Trucker hat, which we're super excited about. And
I didn't know about that. I love hats.
Any order over $100, we'll throw in a free hat, AO Trucker hat, and you can support us on Instagram with that. They're really cool. So that's while supplies last. I might need to place a reorder on those soon because we're loving seeing those go out the door.
Yeah, that's great. Well, and I didn't realize that Dovetail has overalls now. And I still miss my original Carhartts that, were 25 years old and super worn in and soft, but I might have to splurge on that and get some Dovetail ones. So, and I love all the different colors too, right? Like, I think it's really cool that they're just, I don't know, they're just so much more cuter looking.
Yeah.
There's no other word for it.
Yeah. They have, this indigo stripe on one of their overalls. They also have that same indigo stripe in a short this season, which looks it's just, like you said, it's cute. I mean, it kind of, lends itself to old workwear, looks, but in much more modern take and a modern package and with function too. Yeah. I mean, pockets everywhere on these pants. I mean, it's amazing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they know women love pockets. I won't buy anything. I won't buy a sundress. I won't buy anything if it doesn't have pockets in it. Right. So
the more function, the better.
Yeah. I love that. All right. Well, this was delightful. I love learning all these little kind of insider things. Is there anything that is maybe like your favorite as we kind of wrap this up, like maybe one of your favorite products that that's really clever or kind of a unique solution to a problem, or, you may not have something, but I just thought you might, since you see so many different kinds of things. Is there something that you just really love as a product?
Yeah. I really like products that are functional and, that look good, but also feel good and help you perform. We have a keen utility boot called the Cincinnati 8-inch soft toe work boot. And it's actually one of our best selling products. It's comes up cut a little bit higher, but it lends to that retro sort of work boot look, but it's loaded with features and every woman we sell it to just raves on it. And the fit is spot on. It's just, we do really, really well with that.
The Cincinnati.
It's called the Cincinnati. Yep.
Yeah.
The Cincinnati.
What colors does it come in?
It comes in this, it's really, really rich brown color, just one color.
It's that dark brown, kind of like a walnut color almost. I think
Yep. And then it also has it's like a cream colored wedge outsole. So it's real. It's one of those that has a lot of stuff. Yeah, it's pretty.
It's
and
handsome.
It's
handsome.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a sharp boot.
Well, so as we get ready to say goodbye to you, why don't you tell us a little bit? Not everybody knows that you guys also sell actually quite a few women that listen are very outdoorsy, right? They kayak, they paddleboard, they surf, they do all kinds of things. And you guys sell a pretty wide range of women's sandals and outdoor shoes and a lot of really outdoorsy, sporty types of shoes and clothing. Can you talk just a little bit about that too?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah. So, me coming from, a lifetime in women's shoes, this whole past year, everyone's gotten outside more and started to get more active, whether it be hiking or running or just getting out with your dog more. So we've added much more of that sort of casual sporty stuff to Athena Outfitters. So we have tons of Chaco kind of outdoor sandals. Keen makes those outdoor sandals with toe protection, which are great if you're in and out of the water.
Yep.
On running, it's these slip-on sort of athletic shoes. We have Hoka running shoes. They're great for running or walking or just kind of standing and just, an amazingly comfortable product. And then after work, nothing better to slide your feet into than a pair of Birkenstocks. And we're one of the largest dealers in the Midwest of Birkenstocks. So we've got a really nice selection on Athena Outfitters. I really just put my leather products of Birkenstock up there because I think they hold up better. They last longer. So yeah, Birkenstock, outdoor running shoes, athletic shoes, hiking shoes. We've got a lot more than just workwear and work boots. So check us out. It's been a fun ride so far, and we're just getting started.
Yeah, I love it. Well, Dan, thank you so much for sharing just a little bit of your time and sort of the life of a shoe man. And I think you're really going to enjoy that movie. You're going to see a lot of similarities with Kinky Boots. It's quite comical and fun. Yep. And you guys don't forget, you can get 15% off. Use RYL15 and go and buy some stuff for summer and get ready. Right. So Dan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey, thank you so much. I'm really an honor to be on here, and we're very grateful to be part of this amazing community. Thanks, Camille.
Thanks so much for listening to Remodel Your Life. I sure have enjoyed being with you today. And if you really like our show, we'd love it if you would subscribe through iTunes. You can always send us feedback through email at Camille@remodelyourlifepodcast.com. And I'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to the Remodel Your Life podcast. This episode has ended, but your remodeling journey can continue. Head over to remodelyourlifepodcast.com to access all the resources, tools, and links mentioned in this episode. Until next time, get your hands dirty and create the life you want from the foundation up.
And thanks again to Blue Apron. I just love cooking with them and so appreciate their support of my show.